Okay, so I want to talk about something today that, to me, it just blows my mind that nobody's looking into this. Nobody pays attention to it. Everybody acts like you know everything is perfectly normal. What I don't understand, mass shooters are a phenomenon, right? Nobody really knows why they're doing it. Have no idea what their motives are. You know, whatever. But here's the reality. What happened to our serial killers? And this isn't just something in the United States. This is something everywhere. Um, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to explain this thing to you the best I can. Um, I believe that serial killers have stopped, you know, killing, and they've completely. I'm not going to say they're completely done because there's probably some still out there, but forensic science has created a deterrent for serial killers. I mean, it's just you can't kill someone in 2023 or 2022 or the last 10, 15 years. You just cannot kill somebody and get away with it anymore. There's just too much. Forensic science is just way too advanced. It's way too advanced. I mean, if you were a serial killer in 2023, you'd have to be extremely intelligent. You know, um, and it doesn't even really require. It's not even about intelligence. It's more about you know making the tiniest mistake and you get caught. Well, like I said, everybody acts like mass shooters are just coming out of nowhere. They don't know why. I'm going to explain something to you. It's my theory, but I believe mass shooters are our new serial killers. This is something I've said for years, and a lot of people, oh no, it's two different things. Well, the thing is where are our serial killers in 2023? Or like I said before, the last 10 or 15 years. They just don't exist anymore. Like I said, if they do, they're very few in numbers. It's not like it was in the 60s or 70s or 80s, 90s, even 2000s. There were serial killers out there. You know, even in some of the mid 2000s, there were serial killers out there. But it seemed like, at some point it was just a transformation of serial killers into mass shooters. And, a lot of people believe that, serial killers are, psychopaths. That that is a partial truth because there are some serial killers that are psychopaths, but there are also a lot of famous serial killers that weren't psychopaths. They had maybe had mental disorders, and they may have had personality disorders, but technically they weren't psychopaths. It was debated on highly about Ted Bundy. Was he a psychopath or a sociopath? Um, in my opinion, I don't think he was a psychopath, and he's not the only one. John Wayne Gacy, um, Richard Ramirez, and the big thing is to me, these people wanted notoriety. They wanted to be publicized and made famous. It's like killing was their 15 minutes of fame. So, my theory is your mass shooters today are killing for the same reason. They're doing it for their 15 minutes of fame. They're doing it so they can, you know, get notoriety and be publicized, even though it might ruin their life. I mean, you got to look at it this way. There were serial killers in the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, and the 90s, and, on into the early 2000s that were doing it for the same reason. Also that I guess there's obviously they had a need to kill and all this other stuff, but this is just something that I've thought about for a long time, and I don't understand why the media isn't raising this question. You know, I think the media is very biased about, they want to they want to institute a gun ban, which to me, the thing is if you there's a lot of different points to this argument. If you ban guns, people can't buy them legally, right? Even if it's just the AR-15 or any kind of assault rifle. And I know a lot of people are going to come at me, oh, assault rifle, whatever. I mean, if it's any kind of rifle that's going to hold 30 rounds, whatever, that's still not going to solve any problems because people will find other ways to get these guns. I mean, and if they can't get the guns, they're going to do something worse like bombings or something. It could be stabbings, chemical attacks. Who knows? But like I was saying, getting back to the point, like I said, I really do believe that mass shooters are our new serial killers. And that's just something I've always thought. But there is nobody looking into this. Nobody. It's kind of like the afterlife. The government wants no part of that. They want they would rather spend millions of dollars on sending a robot or a drone to Mars, but they won't interview people, hundreds of thousands of people that have had near death experiences, and whatever. That's getting off to another topic, but I'm just saying it's like the government seems like they just completely disregard a lot of realities, and if you really do the research for yourself, like I said, serial killers they hardly exist. But now mass shooters are everywhere. So in my opinion, would-be serial killers, but are deterred from doing that because of forensic science. And they have evolved into a mass shooter, and to me that's what it is. We are as human beings, we are experiencing an evolution of killers. What would have been a serial killer, 10, 15 years ago, well, let's say 15 years back, is now a mass shooter. And that's just my opinion. That's not only my opinion, it's just there's the evidence to support this is that there is, like I said, serial killers are almost non-existent. And people watch TV shows and all this, and they but when was the last time you got on the news and you really heard about a serial killer that was, actually was killing people, in the last 5-6 years? You just don't hear about them anymore. And you might hear about a case where somebody had done this back in the 90s or even in the early 2000s, but this doesn't happen anymore. And I think that, the FBI needs to, and I would honestly say they already know this. They already know this. It's not news, but I think our, government has an agenda, like I said, to disarm the citizens. I mean, that's just, and they want, bring this to light that, mass shooters are our new serial killers simply because, like I said, they want to disarm the citizens, and I'm not going to get political about this. It's just there is a blatant reason why they're not bringing this to the attention of not only Americans but everybody else, Europeans, everywhere, because mass shootings are everywhere, and I would say that there's probably certain countries that are more isolated that their forensic science is not as advanced, and I would say that more than likely they still have serial killers, because if somebody can get away with it, they're going to do it, and that's just the way it is. A lot of people think about, conscience and somebody's guilt and all that stuff, but a lot of it has to do with if they can get away with it or not. You know, and I just wanted to make this video today and put it on YouTube and just kind of bring this to the attention of people, because to me it's this is this is the answer to a problem that we have. And we could actually solve this problem just by figuring out the psychology of the mass shooter. Like, why are they doing it? Maybe there's ways we could prevent it. But either way, I thank you for watching the video.